drink?
So no doubt, you're returning to work on Monday, and your colleagues are going to say, what's this mysterious Newsgeist thing you were doing all weekend? What did you talk about? Werewolf? What's with the werewolf? Our intent here isn't to be secretive, but this is an event where we come together, we have these conversations, we do that under Chatham House rule. There are other organizations and events that act like this, and we wonder, what do they talk about when we're out there listening? And we're very fortunate that Jodie Hopperton was at the Roundtable in Vail, a meeting of C-level media executives, and she's going to tell us what they talk about.
Yeah, Jodie.
Hi. I am indeed going to tell you about what we talked about behind closed doors in Vail. Now, the only thing is, it was under Chatham House rules, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to name names. And for example, when we did do a mock debate for and against Big Tech, I can't tell you who represented Big Tech nor what the outcome was, so I'm really sorry about that. The only people you are actually going to see are my colleagues, Greg and Robert. You'll see a slide shortly. And we started very much in the way that we've done here with post-it notes, right? What do CEOs actually want to talk about? And we put those together. And I wanted to share some of that with you. So, what are the main things that CEOs wanted to talk about? That's the big question. Two big things, no massive surprise, AI, business growth strategies. That's what really came out. Now, luckily we planned for that. We didn't have to change too much of the program we were already put together. But I also thought it might be interesting to look at what we actually talked about, right, in the room. What are the things we talked about? So these little speech bubbles you'll see come up over the next few slides. Now, whilst we're here, one of the things we talked about is tech stack and CMS. And as luck would have it, Inma and Jean and I have been working on a CMS vendor selection tool. If you're interested in this, come and join the town hall on Wednesday at 10 a.m. meeting. You can sign up at inma.org/CMS. There we have that out of the way. The biggest takeaway still kind of shocks me. It's this. We need to move from the company value chain to the customer value chain. All the product people out there will rejoice, because this is true. Right, we know this. And so what does that actually mean? Well, we've actually got to make products that people want to spend their time and money on, right? We've got to make them easy to find. We've got to make them easy to use. Get the right content to the right people in the right format. And maybe contentiously, we need to make it easy for them to leave when they want to as well, so they can come back. One of the things I thought was a great idea was this NPS across the customer value chain. We quite often get NPS scores, but why not do it at different points so we can see where we're strong, where we're weak, and where we really need to improve. This slide really resonated. Now, to recap, to read the benefits of generative AI, it was deemed that you really need to have one person, one team, one venture focusing on that. That's something that really came through. We also talked about automating commodities to put more human resources into high impact things. So we talked a lot about generative AI. We can automate some of the things. It doesn't mean we don't need to put them in, but some of the content we're putting in is ubiquitous. You can find it in many different places, right? We can automate that. What we need to do is put money into the high impact stuff, the stuff that people are really going to actually pay for. So I've done this before, so I know you should always put one slide in the middle to give you a time to read. This was an actual post-it note from one of the C-suite. I know who it was. But I can't tell you rules. So we also talked about growth, right? Growth is pretty big. Now this actually came from our World Congress. We did a survey, and I thought it was helpful to put it in here because this is the growth areas for media companies. This is what people said. And there's massive people think there's growth in subscriptions, right? That came out of Vail as well, very much so. A lot of people think there's a lot of upside. The other thing they think there's upside on is payment from big tech. I'm going to leave that there. Now there are 4 things we came out of this that are sustainable business model needs. Some things we can change, some things we can't, right? But we really need to focus on the things we can do. There are also a few things that I just wanted to throw in that really actually surprised me, like the print supply chain is actually collapsing faster than customer interest. Printing presses are being bought up, it's hard to get paper, so we really need to accelerate that digital transformation. That's something that's really important. Also, there's a lot of talk about Gen Z, which is great, but digital subscriptions, the average age is more than 45, so don't we need to crack Gen X and millennials before we start thinking about Gen Z? I'm not saying we shouldn't think about Gen Z, but we really need to think about that. And the other thing is, again, quite obvious, we need to think about where the company's going, not where it's been, and we need to create the organisational structures around that. I'm a massive fan of squads, right, for innovation, for growth. Let's focus on the key things that we need. I'm easy to find. Please do come talk to me about any of this. Thank you very much for having me.